I might have gotten too many books in the month of October. Just maybe. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name's Leia, and today I will do my October book haul. Yeah, I know it's December, but I just never filmed this video. And yeah, it's going to be a long one probably, because there are just so many books, but I do have a lot of YouTube shorts on some of these editions, since they came from book subscription boxes, or they are just special editions from, for example, The Broken Binding. So maybe it won't be a long video after all, but let's just get through all of these books. And as a disclaimer, yes, there are a lot of books, but I don't really have any other expensive hobbies, so I think it's fine. I do look at how much I pay for books, so that it's never a problem at all. And I didn't buy as many books in November, and December will look like a lot, but there will be a lot of gifts and less books that I bought myself. So let's just get through this. So starting from the top, we've got this new book that was released. I don't know if it was worldwide or just in Germany, but it's Stephen King's illustrated version of this werewolf story. Again, have never read it, and I have no idea if the English title would translate just plainly to Tarka Mills' werewolf, or the werewolf from Tarka Mills, or something like it. But it's just a very pretty illustrated edition. From the inside, got some nice end papers as well. And then just quickly flipping through this, you can see that there are lots of pictures in here, black and white, as well as colored. And yeah, I think it's going to be very interesting to read the story for the first time in this amazing edition. So yeah, that's the first book. Let's move on with the stack on the right, I think. So the very first book is the first book in the Schwab series, Darker Shades of Magic, maybe? No, wait, it's the new book. Yeah. Well, you can tell that I haven't really read a lot of the Schwab books, only Galland, I think. So this is her new series, but I think it's connected maybe to the Darker Shade of Magic. They look pretty similar, so they might be. Anyways, it's called The Fragile Threads of Power, and this is, I don't know, maybe the Waterstones edition or something like it. I don't remember, it's been a while, but it does look very pretty. I also like the alternate version of the cover with these new designs of the people, but this one's very pretty as well. Looks like that, with beautiful sprayed edges, some kind of map, maybe London again, who knows. I certainly do not. Nice spine. And as a naked hardback, it also looks very luxurious, very much like a classic, which I love. Also at the back, and we have some end papers in here, and also signed. And yeah, it's pretty much just a book apart from that, and I have no idea what it's about. None at all. No, it's just praise, so should be in here. Sounds very much like a sequel series to The Darker Shade of Magic, so If you haven't read it, don't read this, I guess. And yeah, I've heard interesting but mixed things about the dark shade of magic. And I've no idea if I will enjoy it. Again, as I've said, I've only read Gallant, which was okay. Nothing bad, but also nothing exceptional about it. And I am excited to read some other books. Also, Vicious sounds kind of interesting, but it also sounds like a superhero book, which is just something that I do not enjoy again. But yeah, we will see. I have the books, I just need to read them to find out. Next up is a very tiny and also short book in comparison to most of the other books. It's A Certain Hunger by Chelsea G. Summers, and I love the cover, and I think it also sounds very promising. I think some people didn't really think that it lived up to their expectations, to the premise of it all, but I hope I'll enjoy it. Like, isn't that amazing cover? So, it's about food writer Dorothy, which you can't see. Dorothy Daniels, and she loves what she does. Discerning, meticulous, and very, very smart, Dorothy's clear mastery of the culinary arts makes it likely that she could, on any given night, whip up a more inspired dish than any one of the chefs she writes about. Dorothy loves sex as much as she loves food, and while she struggled to find a long-term partner that can keep up with her, she makes the best of her single life, frequently traveling from Manhattan to Italy for a taste of both. But there's something within Dorothy that's different from everyone else. And having suppressed it long enough, she starts to embrace what makes Dorothy uniquely, terrifyingly herself. Recounting her life from a seemingly idyllic farm-to-table childhood, the heights of her career, to the moment she plunges an ice pick into a man's neck on Fire Island, Dorothy Daniels shows us what happens when a woman finally embraces her superiority. Sounds interesting to me. I've never read the synopsis, I think. I've only ever heard other people talk about it, and the cover looks amazing, so I was intrigued immediately. So yeah, love stories like that, I think. Anything with art always interests me. The execution, well, seldom excites me, but I hope this one's good. Sounds good for sure. And I mean, it says it's a satire, so could be a hit or miss, but I am a foodie, so I hope this is going to be amazing. So yeah, there's that. Next up is this amazing edition from the Kickstarter campaign. It's The Sword of Kaigan by Emma Wang, and I've never read the book, but I just had to have it because it looks absolutely amazing. It has a very nice cover, very nice sprayed edges, and also a few illustrations in there which are just very cool. And again, I've heard amazing things. It's a high fantasy book, I think, Asian inspired for sure, and probably has a lot of combat in it, which can be interesting but can also be boring to me if it's too much. And I don't have to show you the edition in detail because I have a video about it if you haven't seen it already 10 times from other channels. So yeah, there you go, there's the synopsis again. Warriors, yep, fantasy in there. Probably reads, hopefully, I guess, like a historical fiction as well, but we will see. It's a very long book, so probably has a lot of descriptions in there. Let's see, like almost 700 pages with the appendix. And the next book is very hard to see on camera, actually. It's Swordcatcher by Cassandra Clare. This is the Olympic Crate version without the dust jacket on, because I have it on my Fairy Loot edition right now, which arrived in December, I think. Yeah, on the 1st of December. So yeah, can't show it to you now, but I love the Illumicrate version. Had to get it. Again, haven't read the book, so now I have 2 copies of it. I hope it's going to be a very good book so that I can keep 2 copies of it. And I've only ever read the Mortal Instruments trilogy, not the whole series, by Cassandra Clare, which was very good when I read it as a teenager, and yeah, I just never moved on reading all the other books in the Shadowhunters universe, and this is the first book that stands wholly on its own. It's not written in that universe, so very excited about it. I also think it's supposed to be an adult book, probably reads more like something in between young adult and adult, but that's alright. If it's a good story, I will not criticize it for that. I can enjoy middle grade and young adult books for sure. It just needs to be interesting enough and have a good writing style. I think Cassandra Clare has that, so I hope it's going to be good. And again, I have a video just dedicated to this edition somewhere on my channel. So this is about 2 outcasts with the power to change everything, and it's set in Castellan, nobles and criminals. And then the most interesting thing about it is we follow Kel, who is an orphan, doesn't have much in life, but then he is to become Prince Connor Aurelian's body double, and there are some assassinations going on, and well, Kel is always in danger because of that. And then of course Kel and the prince get closer to each other, might fall in love, who knows. And then we also have Lynn, who's an Ashkari physician, so got some magical abilities going on there, which sound really interesting. And I just always love if that's the Illumicrate dust jacket, by the way. I just always love multiple perspectives in books, so I hope I'll enjoy it. It does sound interesting. And next is the Waterstones edition of the Hurricane Wars. I think I also should have the Fairy Loot edition somewhere, probably in my November book stack, but maybe we'll find it later. But I don't think it'll show up. I think it is in a different stack for a different video coming up hopefully very soon after this one. And again, it's yet another fantasy book, I think the first in a series as well, and we've got some magical stuff going on there. And I think there's something about the land of light and the land of darkness in this fictitious universe, and stuff happening, wars happening, I guess. I think it's also Asian inspired, but I'm not sure right now. And yeah, as I've said, I have 2 copies, haven't read it yet, love both of these copies, hopefully I can keep both of them, and I should have a video where I show you how this book looks like in detail. So in this book we've got Taliesin, who was left on the steps of an orphanage as a baby, and she's always known the Hurricane Wars, people fighting for freedom in there. Then there's a tyranny going on because of the Emperor Gaheris. Interesting. And she wants to find out where she came from, obviously, her family, and also her source of the magic that flows through her, like sunlight. Well, that's not a hint, I don't know. And then we've also got Alaric, who's more comfortable on the shadow side, I guess. Looks like these 2 characters are supposed to be enemies, but then they might turn out to be lovers again. Who knows? And yeah, she's got sunlight magic, he's got shadow magic. Very straightforward, but I think it does sound interesting, and I've heard great things from some of the people that have read it already. And I mean, it says a new horror emerges, so could be very interesting. If it's written very atmospheric, I think I could love this one. And yeah, there's that. Love that cover. And the next book is a Waterstones edition of Unraveler by Frances Harding. I think I only own other books by the author. I don't think I've read any of them yet. Don't quote me on that. I just had to have this. I love that cover, even though I hate spiders. This just looks so good. Got some foil going on here as well to really make the spiderweb pop. I love that. It's just stunning. Just some blue sprayed edges to complement the cover, and nice spine as well. More spider webs, and the back has also spider and a spider web on it. And on the naked hardback, the spine also looks very cool. And inside we do have a nice map, and it's also signed by the author. Wait, where is it? I swear it is. There. It's signed. And let's see what it is about, because I did forget. I think it has some historical fiction in there, but also fantasy. But maybe I'm lying to you right now. I have no idea. So, in a world where anyone can create a life-destroying curse, only one person has the power to unravel them. Kellen doesn't fully understand his talent, but helps those transformed maliciously, including Nettle. Recovered from entrapment in bird form, she's now his constant companion and closest ally. But Kellen has also been cursed, and unless he and Nettle can remove his curse, Kellen is in danger of unraveling... title drop! Everything and everyone around him. Doesn't say too much about the content, does it? But I hope it's good. I mean the cover is one of the most beautiful I think I've seen. I don't know why, but I just love it. And the next book is a locked library subscription book called The Book of Witches by all kinds of people. So it's a short story collection or anthology edited by Jonathan Strahan and has some illustrations by Alyssa Winans, and has a very beautiful cover, and as you have seen already, a very cool spine as well. And again, I have a video with all the details of this edition in here, but yeah, here you can see all the authors again for this anthology. I know some of these authors, like Darcy Littlebatcher or Ken Liu, or Garth Nixon's one, and Tochi Onibayushi, and Fundali. But I think everyone else, I've never read anything, or never even heard of them. I think I do know Cassandra Core, but I think that's it. So like, that's a lot of authors that I've never discovered before. So I'm really excited to see what these stories will be about. And this doesn't really say much about it, but I think you can guess that, I mean, it came out in October. It is called The Book of Witches, so there's some dark stuff in here, hopefully. Pinch of fairy tale, a measure of myth, a dash of lore, a hint of horror. Add a twig of broom and hair of cat, a hint of magic, the wing of bat. Then brew beneath the darkest moon, so witches will be with you soon. That's kind of cool. That sounds interesting. And yeah, it says it has tales both enchanting and terrifying, science fiction and fantasy. I think it sounds very cool. It's a very bold move to put a short story collection or anthology in your subscription box, because a lot of people don't really love these kind of stories. I love them, so I'm really excited to get something like that in a subscription box. So let's see if I can find an illustration. I have no idea if I have shown that in the opening of the box. So we have these tiny illustrations thrown in there throughout the whole book. So another example. So I think it's very cool to have it. Next up, in the same vein, we've got a more darker book, a horror book maybe. It's The Hollow Places by T. Kingfisher, and I've only read What Moves the Dead by the author, but I really liked it, so hopefully I will enjoy her other books just as much or even more. And I have no idea what this is about. I just know that it says T. Kingfisher, and I had to have it. So here's the cover again, also very cool looking. Pray that they're hungry. Why should I? That's an interesting quote. And in this, we follow Kara. She finds the words in the mysterious bunker that she's discovered behind a hole in the wall of her uncle's house. Okay. Freshly divorced and living back at home, Kara now becomes obsessed with these cryptic words and starts exploring this peculiar area, only to discover that it holds portals to countless alternate realities, but these places are haunted by creatures that seem to hear thoughts, and the more one fears them, the stronger they become. Ooh, I love portals, so that's very cool. I'm not sure about the more you fear them, the stronger they become. I think that's always a little cringy, but can't go wrong with the T. Kingfisher book now, can you? And then the next book is The Hunting Moon by Susan Dennett, which is the follow-up to The Luminaries by her. I think it's the second book, yeah. And I also think that this is the Waterstones edition, which has a sprayed edge, and this cover, which I prefer to the other one. I also have the first book in this cover. Not sure if I have the exclusive edition, but I think they match more or less. Again, I haven't read it, but I think it sounds very cool. Love the cover. And I did hear some good things, but I also think that some people just thought that it was okay. But again, I hope it will be good, or I wouldn't own it. So this is how it looks up close. I love it very much. Also has a nice spine right here. And a nice back. And the sprayed edges are just plain purple, but they do have a landscape which looks kind of cool. And it's not focusing, but I think you get the gist of it. So I think it looks very nice. Hopefully I'll read it soon, but again, I just have so many books, so little time. And the next 3 books are also featured in one Fairy Loot unboxing. So these are all Fairy Loot books. I bought them separately and haven't read them. So we have As Long as the Lemon Trees Grow by Zulfa Katu, maybe? And also the duology about tea magic, starting with A Magic Steeped in Poison by Judy Eileen. And I just had to have these. I mean, they sound very cool, first off, but I also think these editions just look absolutely stunning. I previously owned A Magic Steeped in Poison and its sequel in just the normal hardback version, but I replaced them now with these because they just look so much more beautiful. But it was hard to get rid of the others, but I don't need to own 2 of these copies if they are very similar. And for As Long as the Lemon Trees Grow, I just thought that it sounded interesting. It's very different from all the books that I usually read. I think it delves more into a literary fiction realm. Is that even a thing? The direction of a literary fiction book, which is typically not something that I do enjoy, but it also talks about people working in a profession that is focused on medicine, and I just eat that shit up. I love to read about that, so I had to have it. And the other one is just beautiful, again Asian inspired fantasy, and we've got tea magic and a competition around that. And I mean, that sounds amazing. I had to have it. So I figures there's more to the synopsis right here. Got a lot of representation in As Long as the Lemon Trees Grow as well, which is nice to have, to know more about Syria, but it's not something that I would have picked up if it weren't about the more interesting stuff in the story going on. And then for this one, which is also a young adult book, got the synopsis right here, which is again hard to read. Amazing. And now there's only 1 stack left, yay! And almost half of these books are featured in other videos, so let's just quickly go through them. So the first book is this middle grade fantasy book featuring dragons, I guess, and it's called Impossible Creatures by Catherine Rundell. It has some nice sprayed edges, not on the top and bottom, but it's nice to have them anyways. Very, very cool cover as well. And it says right here that there was Tolkien, there's Pullman, and now there's Catherine Rundell, which, well, that is some high praise for sure. And the back is also very, very, very beautiful. Is it a Kelpie right there? I don't know. Would be lovely. I always love stuff about water creatures and underwater worlds. And the inside flaps look also very, very cool. Got a ship right here, so maybe there's some seafaring going on. Information about the author and a centaur. And the synopsis, of course. So on the day Christopher Forrester rescues a drowning baby griffin from a hidden lake, his life changes forever. The adventure that awaits him will take him to the archipelago, a secret, unmapped cluster of islands where all the creatures of myth still live side by side with humans. That sounds a little bit like the Chronicles of Narnia. I don't know. Sounds wholesome for sure. And the adventure also brings him Mal, a girl on the run with whom he will transform the destiny of the world. So maybe that's where Philip Pullman's story comes in, with these 2 characters that don't know each other in different worlds. Could be very, very cool. I am excited for it. I've no idea if this is a series or just a short standalone book. No idea. And got the very cool map on the inside, on the end papers. And it doesn't stop being beautiful, because before the whole story starts, we've got a bestiary in here as well, with a lot of illustrations, which is super cool. So very, very long, very nice information. And then yeah, it starts. Also some illustrations here at the start of a chapter. So yeah, sounds like a very cool middle grade. Now the next book, Marbles, also written by all kinds of authors. We've got 12 stories in here that are retellings or inspired by Agatha Christie's Miss Marple books. So yeah, 12 different authors, 12 different stories, and I don't think I've ever read a Miss Marple book. I always read Hercule Poirot books. Maybe one of them was a Miss Marple book, so it'll take some time before I can read this, because I would like to get all the stuff from the reference material, but they are probably enjoyable just on its own without having read the other books. But I just want to know the original before I read these stories. Again, this one's a very, very beautiful edition as well, with a very cool spine. With all the authors on here, which are very well known. I know of Lucy Foley. I own books by Natalie Haynes. I've read books and loved them by Naomi Alderman and Lee Bardugo. And yeah, I think this is going to be very interesting for sure. Got all of them on here as well. And inside flap. And then the naked hardback also has the authors on here, but it also has all the signatures. And that's such a cool idea. It looks very, very cool. And the end paper also features them again. Very nice. And this is the whole content in here. Now this next book very much reminds me of Elias Grace by Hilary Mantel, I think. This is The Confessions of Franny Langton by Sarah Collins, a historical fiction book, and I didn't really hear a lot of things about it, but I think it sounds very cool. Has a quite nice cover, also with some foil. Back looks like this, also very, very cool. And then the spine. They say I must be put to death for what happened to Madame, and they want me to confess. But how can I confess what I don't believe I've done? Again, that's where I think it is similar to Elias Grace by Margaret Atwood. Takes place in the 1900s in London. Very cool. I love these kinds of historical fiction books where you don't know if you can trust the main character and just trying to find out what really happened. I usually don't love crime books, but if it's done right, like in Elias Grace, I think I can love this one as well. And the next two books were also Fairy Loot books. They have a video on here somewhere where I talked about them and showed you the special things like the sprayed edges, the naked hardback, and so on. I love both of these editions. They look very, very nice. I haven't read them yet. I haven't read a single book from this haul yet because I had them somewhere separately, didn't want to read them and forget to put them there to film this haul, so didn't pick up a single book, but I hope these are good. The one on the right was about ghosts, I think, so something that I seldom love, but I'll give it a chance for sure. I'll read the whole book, find out if I can like it or not. And then Son of Blood and Ruin is... it's not Aztec inspired, I think, but it has this South American mythology inspiration in there for sure, which sounds amazing. That's something I just love. I always have to think of some of the games that I have played years back, and also this one horror movie, what's it called again, I don't know, where there's a group of people at this weird temple thing in the jungle, and they are all dying on there. There's also a book about it, which I really want to read soon, but I don't even own it yet because the editions that I think look amazing aren't available anymore. But yeah, I have no idea what it's called now. But it doesn't matter, I'm really excited for the one on the left for sure. And then I also have Vamps by Nicole Arendt. I think it's a German book, but I could be wrong. And I love vampire books, but I think this is very much a modern story, a contemporary story. And I've heard some people not enjoying it. I got it secondhand because my mom had duplicate copies of it. So yeah, got it for free. And I am excited for it because I do love vampire books, but yeah, I don't have the highest expectations for it now, which could be a very good thing. So this is how it looks like. Nothing too special, but I love the neon effect. And it says it's a dark academia sensation, so maybe it is good after all. And I mean, this is German, so I have no idea if there's an English translation or original out there. Got parties in here, and the main characters are 18 or something around there, so could be trash, but I don't know. I'll have to read it to find out for sure. And there's also more synopsis, so if you can read German, feel free to read all of that stuff. And it's about school, teens, and parties, and also blood and vampires. Could go either way. The next step is just the normal hardback. For once, it's just a normal English book. Wow. It's The Shadow Cabinet by Juno Dawson, which is the second book in that series. The first one was pink and was called Her Majesty's Coven of Witches? I don't know. Something like that. And heard great things. Haven't read the first one yet, but I'm very excited. It's about witches and historical fiction. Two things I love. It's a very thick book, has a great cover, also things that I do love. So yeah, I do have high expectations, but I think it will be good. Yeah. And on the back it says that the first book was called Her Majesty's Royal Coven. So I was close, but I wasn't right. And yeah, I can't read the synopsis because it's the second book, but we do have some very interesting maps in here from the school or coven, and then also from the place. I guess it's set in Manchester then. Love that map. Very, very cool. And I also love the color, as I've said. Very, very bright and unusual color, and I do like these drawings on here. Very, very cool. And yeah, let's change the angle because the light is getting worse and worse. Yeah, it's winter, it gets dark very soon, I know, but 3 p.m, that's just way too soon to get dark, I think. So this is another German book. I have no idea if there's a translation or an original in English, but this is another historical fiction book which I'm very excited about, and it's called The Song of the Black Death. So yeah, I think we all know when this should take place now. First of the cover, it looks nice, nothing too special, but it does look quite cool. It's set in a German city called Nuremberg in the 1500s, and there's the plague in the city going around, and thousands of people are dying, just as the parents of Anna and Sebastian Stäubling The uncle is not very excited about that because now he has to take care of them. He doesn't want to do that. So he's putting Sebastian in some kind of job, and Anna is supposed to be a nun, I guess. And then Sebastian doesn't get the job for long, so he turns in a different direction, in the direction of the monk Kilian Pancratius, which is someone who is part of this kind of brotherhood who is against all the citizens that are supporting Martin Luther. And Anna is also fleeing. She's back in Nuremberg now, and she's finding refuge in the house of a painter. He is probably illustrating books, and he wants to marry her. Well, what the fuck? So yeah, interesting stuff happening in here. Very original, never read a book in that kind of sense, I think. So yeah, very excited about this one. It's also very, very thick, has a lot of pages, 570. But yeah, very excited about it. Then next up is also a short story collection, so it's an anthology by all kinds of authors, some of them very well known, some of them I have never heard of, and this is perfect for the winter season or even Christmas, so maybe I'll get around to reading it. And it features ghosts because it is called The Winter Spirits Ghostly Tales for Frosty Nights. And I think there has been another anthology previously, maybe last year, I have no idea, because it says it is from the creators of The Haunting Season, so maybe that's similar in vein, but was published before this one. Love the cover, got all the authors on here, which is very cool. Also on the back, got some praise here, beautiful design, and it does have sprayed edges, so that's also very cool. And on the inside it says, the tradition of a haunted tale at Christmas has flourished across the centuries. These 12 stories by some of today's most loved and lauded authors of Gothic fiction are all centered around the festive season, boldly and playfully reimagining a beloved tradition for a modern audience. So it is perfect for Christmas. I have to read it. Jeez. I want to read so many winter or Christmas books this year, and I just don't have the time. I read like one book per week nowadays. So yeah. Hopefully I'll get to it. Taking you from a haunted Tuscan villa to a remote Scottish island with a terrible secret. Secret? What? That's not a word. With a terrible secret to a theatre where unimaginable horrors are set to unfold. These vibrant ghost stories will serve as your ultimate companion to frosty nights. So curl up, light a candle, and fall under the spell of winter's past. Sounds cool for sure. Very excited about most of these authors. And these are all the stories featured in here. Oh, Catriona Award is in here as well, nice. And then finally, the last 3 books for today's haul are it has a name, right? This trilogy by R.J. Barker, starting with The Bone Ships, which is a seafaring fantasy featuring dragons and probably fighting between ships. I have no idea. And it has ships made out of bones from these mythical creatures, and these are the additions from the Broken Binding, so I do have a video showing you these beautiful editions in detail. And we follow Thanks, camera, for nothing at all. So we have 2 nations, and a prize beyond compare. The 100 isles have built their ships from the bones of ancient dragons to fight an endless war. The dragons disappeared, but the battles persisted. And now the first dragon has been spotted in far-off waters, and both sides see a chance to shift the balance of power, because whoever catches it will win not only glory, but the war. So I'm not sure how this can make up a story for 3 books, but I will find out. I've heard amazing things again. I think many people enjoy these. And I mean, Robin Hobb says it's great. And I've never read a Robin Hobb book. So I don't know if I can trust that. But a lot of people love Robin Hobb. And a lot of people also love R.J. Parker's books. So I just hope I love it too. I like books about dragons, but it's not something that is, I don't know, triggering me to look more into a book just because it has dragons in it. But the books by Mary Brennan about the natural history of dragons were amazing. So I can love dragon books. I also love Game of Thrones, obviously. But yeah, stuff like Fourth Wing wasn't my type of thing. But yeah, I don't want to compare the Bone Ships with Fourth Wing. Hell no. They are very, very different. This is not romantasy, this is high fantasy, with probably a lot of combat and action, and much darker than Fourth Wing. Hopefully. I don't know. And the story and plot is also very different. I don't even know why I came up with Fourth Wing now. But yeah, that's the whole haul for now. And now I just have to put them somewhere so that they don't stand in my way in the middle of the room as they do now. And the whole stack is going to fall in a few seconds, so I'll stop the video here. Hope you enjoyed it. See you soon, hopefully with my next haul. And until then, take care. Happy reading. Goodbye.